Okay, got a horn that's not working on my 1972 C10 pickup. Just got her lowered to get it ready for inspection. So horn's not working, and gonna run you through on how to fix and, well, first off diagnose and then fix the horn. So on these trucks and virtually all 60s, 70s GM vehicles, and lots of different vehicles for that matter, all operate very, very simple. It's just one wire to the horn. So I found the horn, so that's that guy there. You just got one wire going to it, the green wire there. That comes from a relay that's hidden under the dash, and your contacts for your ground are in this guy here. So as you can see, pressing the horn button, I can hear something happen underneath the dash. I believe that's probably the relay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and test down at the relay. But first off, before I get down to the relay, any testing, I'm just gonna check to see if I have power at the horn. So first things first, grab your test light. Let's make sure it's working, which it is. So now what you want to do is just test, yank off your terminal to your horn, and then you want to test the power going to it when you're hitting the button. So let me grab, oh, maybe I can just hold this here, see if I can test it. So I'm going to hit the button for the horn and see if that lights up. It should, when I'm hitting the horn button, light up. So, okay, it's clicking. There's obviously no power at that horn. So, power's not getting to that horn. So, I gotta get under here, figure out what's going on. So, I believe that guy's the relay right there. So I'm just gonna tap the horn button a couple times. So while I'm tapping that, I can hear that relay clicking, which could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. So I'm just gonna check to see that the signal from the horn button is getting down to that relay. And if it is, make sure that there's power going to that relay. And then I'm gonna also make sure that the power is coming out the other side of the relay. So when you hit that button, it should ground that relay. And when you ground it, it should also send signal out the other side or power out the other side to the horn. So I'm just gonna check those circuits now. Okay, test light hooked up to the negative side of the battery. You can just find a good ground under the dash if you want. I always like to be right to the battery. So anyhow, I'm gonna check the circuits at the relay here. So basically, you should have under here is constant power on one. Oh, sorry, get under here. You should have constant power on one circuit. So on this thing, fortunately I can leave plugged in and test. So, oh sweet, okay, first try. So I do have constant on one circuit, which is perfect. So you want to have constant power going to your relay, and then when you hit your button, so looks like red has got the constant power. So being the bigger, thicker wire on here, you can assume that this green wire, and it's the same color as at the horn, should be getting power after you ground that relay, so it gets signal from your horn. So I'm hitting this horn, I can feel it clicking, I can hear that relay clicking, but no power is going out on that green. So odds are very good, pretty much confirmed that that relay is toast. So when I'm hitting the button, I can hear it doing its thing there, clicking. So the only other test you need to do just to confirm that this relay is gone is this little black wire here is your signal from the contact behind the steering wheel. So this ground, or this smaller black wire here, all I'm going to do is hook up my test light to the positive side of the battery. So when I'm going to be testing this, hooked with the other end of the test light to the positive side terminal, and you're hooking this, when you hit the horn button, this should light up. Basically just completes the circuit through the test light. So you want to hook up your test light, the other end now, to the positive side of your battery. Once you've done that, you want to hit the horn button and hold this on here on this terminal, which is your ground or your contact, the switch coming from your steering wheel or the horn button, and this should light up. So I'm going to pop out of here now. I'm going to switch over that test light to hook up to the positive side of the battery, and then hit this horn button. And if this lights up when I hit the horn button, then that confirms that the wiring to that terminal, or sorry, to that relay is good. And that means that your relay needs to be replaced. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I've got the end of the test light hooked up to the positive side of your battery, right? So now I'm going to test to see if that relay is getting a ground. Set up my phone here. So now when I hold this test light on this guy here, and I'm going to reach up behind and hit the horn button. See that? So as I'm hitting my horn button, it is grounding. So it is getting a signal from that horn button. So that means your circuits are all confirmed. That means that relay is toast. So I'm going to replace that relay. Okay, so I got the relay out. It's funny, you can actually take this relay out of there. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's got something come apart on the inside of it. It's not supposed to do that. This kind of gives you the breakdown of how it's supposed to work there. So kind of just confirms what I was talking about with the circuits going in there. So you can see that on the relay I just scooped up from Lordco R169. Looks like it'll work. Same terminal layout, a little bit different mounting, but as you can hear, nothing's going on in this one. So I'm gonna hook this up, and then my horn should work. So I'm gonna throw this guy in there and then test for power at the horn, or the horn should just work. But if it doesn't, we're gonna test for power at the horn and then go from there. Okay, so just gonna confirm that that relay is working now. So the relay is in there and the horn's not working. So gonna have to go to the next step of diagnosing what's up. But anyways, let's double check that that relay is working now. So you've got constant power there, same as before, that hasn't changed. But now when I hit that horn on that green wire, once I send that ground signal through to that relay, it's lighting up. So, which means I probably have an issue with my horn. So I'm gonna jump out to the horn now, make sure we're getting power to the horn. And if we are getting power to the horn, I'm just gonna test that horn, just run direct power to it, see what's going on. So that relay is working now. So we might have a two-part problem here. So that relay is working now. So now I'm just gonna jump out and take a look at the horn. Back out under the truck, I've got my test light hooked back up to the negative side of the battery. So from that relay, I'm just gonna double check the circuit to the horn here. So I unplugged that horn again, one terminal going to it. I'm doing this by myself, so I'll try and video this, but I got that test light hooked up to that horn signal wire. So now, when I hit that signal, or that horn button, I can reach over here, Oh, now it's getting power. Okay, so I'm getting power to that horn circuit, which just means now that that horn, we'll plug that in, hit that horn again. Odds are that horn is toast. So now I'm just going to throw another quick direct test at that. Make sure that the ground is good, but it's grounded right through that rad support. So all I'm going to do now is just run direct power from that battery directly to that horn terminal and see if it works. Okay, so I've hooked up a jumper wire from the positive side of the battery, so make sure you don't touch that on anything. So these horns are grounded through the base, through the rad support, through that bolt there. So it should be grounded. So touching this direct 12 volt power on this to the terminal on the horn should work. Nothing. Okay, well, we checked for power on that line going into it. Run direct power to it, and nothing's coming from that horn. So that means that horn is toast. So, replace that horn. Okay, so I went to Lordco and got just a generic horn. It doesn't need to be specific, they all operate the same. So, this factory one came out of the truck, just grounds through the base. So this new horn, it's got two terminals. One of them is going to be a ground, one of them is going to be a power. Shows in the description which one's which. So all I'm going to do is run a little jumper wire from the ground terminal back to where it grounds on here. So just a female spade on this side, and then just a ring connector to go right to the ground stud on here as well, so it just grounds back through the base, and then the power will just come to this side and the horn should work. So it's just a generic, you can buy whatever, they're on Amazon, they're like 12 bucks. All horns pretty much operate the same, they just need power and ground. So some of them ground through the body, some of them have a ground terminal on them, pretty straightforward. I bought just one called Loud One, just a $15 horn from Lordco. So I'm gonna hook that up and we'll see if we got a horn. Okay, so all I did on there just to have a dedicated ground and just have it basically back through the chassis ground. The same thing as the original horn is I just ran a jumper wire directly from the body of the horn, just with the eyelet on there, to go back to the stud for that bracket and tighten that up. So this is going to mount to the truck, and this goes directly to the ground side of that horn. So left is just the power hookup or the 12 volt supply to that. So after I get this bolted through, this horn should be grounded, power should be coming through here, and the horn should work. So I'm going to throw this back in the truck and see if it works. Okay, so generic horn is in there. The ground is hooked up to the base or the body of that horn, and then the power, I can get down in there, is hooked to the other side. So now we had power coming to that horn, got ground on there, that relay's new and working. It's working. And that is how to replace two issues on the horn side of things on this truck. But anyways, she's fixed. Horn, relay, good to go.